hello you, welcome to Geekers, and before we jump over to our Let's Build today, we need to add a new name to the Hall of Patrons. If you don't know what this is something we built very early on in the series based on the Hall of Presidents in Disney, and all of our patrons who are at the top tier get themselves an animatronic inside here. We've got one to add today. It's going to be this pirate chappy over here, so thank you very much to Miz and Diz. I'll type you up here. They're all random, which one you get, by the way. So Miz and Diz goes in there. Although we are doing it capitals, aren't we? There we go. Oops, do that there. We have a space currently. So if you would like your name on this little jester guy over here, you can check out patreon.com/geekers, and there's lots of different tiers of rewards as well. Every single penny goes back into supporting the channel. So thank you very much to Miz and Diz and to all our other top tier patrons. Let's head over to our Let's Build. So this is a little bit of a shorter episode than we used to. Unfortunately, I just haven't had the time to sit down and play as much as I would like to this week, although I really am getting back into the swing of producing videos, so hopefully these sort of shorter episodes will be a thing of the past. And basically, we're finishing off at Parisian Restaurant. Still need to do a little bit of work around the back of it. The only reason I haven't yet is because I'm not 100% sure how these rear buildings are going to open out into the little courtyard area we've got set up there for the boomerang coaster. So left that open for now, something we're going to come back to in the future. Obviously now this building is finished and the fireworks building is finished, the fireworks show even, we're going to be moving back over to cap off the pirate area because I really want to get back to our Aztec themed coaster that we were working on over there before fireworks were a thing. So what we're doing here is basically building a second balcony. There was originally going to be 3 balconies. You'll see the area there for a third bit as well, but actually ended up getting rid of that piece there because this bit was just a bit too thin here. You'll see I don't like to leave in footage if I can help it where it's me sort of going back on myself. It's quite frustrating to watch, to be honest, so I apologise for that, but I do end up going back and changing it. For the most part, this stays relatively simple. Then we kind of just sort of, it's a lot of copy and pasting of the areas we've already built, although we do make a few changes with it, and we try and do a bit of a forced perspective thing going on here. So this sort of balcony edging that we've got here that we've used from the lower floor, kind of squish it all together to give it that very slight forced perspective sort of look. It's tricky to do in the game because obviously you can't actually squish the pieces, so to speak. You can't actually sort of make the fences shorter than they are, so it is a case of just sort of dropping them in just slightly. I mean, it's really subtle, you probably wouldn't even ever notice, but you know, hopefully it's little things like that make me happy anyway, knowing I've done them. And again, the same with things like the windows. You know, the windows get a lot shorter as they go up again. I know I keep talking about it a lot. Theme park theory is something I'm trying my best to work on. Unfortunately, I'm really limited for time at the moment, especially now with the baby has come along as well. I know I use him as an excuse a lot lately, but you know, he's a big part of my life at the moment. You know, so I am struggling to get those done because, you know, I still want to be making sort of regular video content as well, but it is something that I am working on, and I will get it as soon as I can. Theme Park Theory being a Patreon tier that we hit really early on, actually, a lot quicker than I thought I was, and it kind of threw me for 6, to be honest. I was never quite ready for it, and it's going to be different sort of theory ideas around real theme parks and how we can use those techniques within our parks here in Planet Coaster. The first episode of that being Forced Perspective. It's actually written, I've just got to sit down and actually film it and get the footage I need. Here we're working around the front here. I ended up changing this a couple of different times. One of the big problems we've got there is the middle pillar there isn't actually in the middle of that wall, and when we stick a roof on it in a moment, that's really noticeable that it's very different. So we end up going back and having a redo that bit there. The roof wise, a few people mentioned the roof in the last episode, actually, the sort of roof you would expect in this sort of you know, Parisian style restaurants, although the architecture itself is very loose, and it would have been a mansard roof, basically, which is a very steep roof that goes to a small flat section on the top, often with lots of dormer windows in it. Unfortunately, the only way you can really do that in the game is by using custom roof pieces, using tiling methods, by using some of the small wooden pieces and tiling them. A lot of people who play Planet Coaster will do that. I know Silveret's current series, for instance, is I think it's called Jägerhorn, which is like a Nordic mine coaster. All his roof is custom in that, and it's absolutely fantastic. Unfortunately, I have to be a little bit aware that this is a very small building in a very large park, and the frame rate is already beginning to get a little bit funky to play with. You don't really notice it on these time lapses, but you know, I've had to empty the park now completely, pretty much fire all the staff, close all the rides down, and even still I'm only getting around 20-25 FPS, and it's not too bad. It's still playable at the moment, but obviously, you know, we're not even half done, so it is something I'm being a little bit aware of, that we're kind of having to go back to using some of the basic pieces as opposed to doing some really custom stuff. Although I am working on a fix for that on the channel, at least. It's something I'm discussing with my Patreon people. I don't know what the word is. Patrons, I guess they are, aren't they? Yeah, we're talking to my patrons at the moment. We're going a little bit back and forth about sort of where Planet Coaster is on the channel and what we're going to be doing with it and stuff like that. That sounds worse than it is. The Planet Coaster is not going anywhere. It's obviously still our main game that we're playing here, and I'm still loving it. But yeah, we're talking a little bit about what we can do with it and how we can get the most out of the game on the channel. So keep an eye out for that. And of course, if you'd like to be part of that discussion, you can check out the Patreon page. I'm not going to mention it again. I know I've mentioned it a few times this last week, and you know, I don't mean to keep pushing. So here we go. Here are the sort of mansard roof sort of style dormer windows with some nice metal trim there that carries on up from the balconies. I think it works out quite nice, although maybe a little bit more detail. I might have to go back and have a little bit more of a play with those. They look a little bit placeholdery at the moment, so yeah, I need to have a little tweak of that. I do actually place some tables and chairs up on this higher balcony, although it's not going to be functional. The actual staff, the peeps or the guests or whatever you want to call them, Planconians, don't actually make their way up here. But it's just kind of a second floor. Again, like I said before, the idea behind this building is to have balcony terraces where people can eat and watch the fireworks shows. It's something they do in Disney and probably other places as well. Like I say, I know it's a thing they do in Disney, and they sell it as like a fireworks and dine or something like that. So that's definitely the idea behind this building. So we wanted lots of outdoor seating, and also I'd made these cool little tables and chairs. I wanted to get the most out of them. So here they're going to be used as a kind of for show level here. We also get a nice piano up here as well. Probably a grand piano would be more suitable, but there isn't one in the game. There is an upright piano, although somebody did make a really great grand piano that was shared the other day on Planet Coaster's Facebook. Unfortunately, I didn't have the time to recreate something like it, and one of my sort of unwritten rules in this series is to only use my own stuff. There's some stuff that I've seen that I'd love to just literally could just drop into this park. It looks fantastic on the workshop, but no, this is the reason you're here, hopefully at least, is to watch me be creative and watch my solutions for creative problems in the game. So yeah, I think using other people's assets would be a little bit of a cop out. So we place the stand-up piano there, but I think it actually looks quite nice, adds a bit of different colour to the level as well. So here we go, coming back to this area here. Really struggled to a place to pop the sign and what to do with this sort of large red space we've got here now. So yeah, wasn't too sure what to do. You'll see me here go through a few options. A big sign that I didn't feel worked, because the building was relatively realistic. It's not as crazy as Dr. K Ratpot's there next door. We thought about adding a clock there, but that big large space that's relatively low down with a clock in the middle, it felt very It's a Small World to me. So in the end, we actually just kind of placed some windows really, and just sort of carry the window themes that we've got from the two other floors, again making the windows slightly smaller on each side there, to kind of give that idea of slight perspective push as it goes up. They also get a little bit closer together as well, which doesn't really help with the perspective. I just felt it looked right in that build, and then we use that small space in between the windows to place the sign. Here, I wanted to have another little go at that. I had some great feedback on this, especially from the RollerCoaster guys. Mike came in to the comments and had a little chat about this, and suggested actually a much rougher sort of foliage technique for that. And I actually agree with him. I really thought it would work quite well. I actually had to play with it off camera. Couldn't quite get it right. The slope was a bit too extreme, and also the very sort of static, structured nature of the bridge and then the castle stairs on the other side. Felt a little bit weird to have this sort of whole mass of greenery in between. So actually what I went back and did a sort of small pavilion, not pavilion, what's the word? A small sort of promenade area instead that kind of just ties the bridge there with the castle walls. I definitely will look back on the RollerCoaster tips and tricks. I know a few of you went over and watched that series. You let me know on Twitter that you really enjoyed it, so I'm glad that I helped you find that because it really is good stuff. So here I felt like it would probably behoove the area to have this as a little bit of a promenade area. And also these little things like this I love. We did it recently in the live stream where we had a problem with a big S on the wild mouse sign, so we turned the big S into a tail of a mouse. Little problems sometimes you get, and trying to come up with a creative fix for them it's one of my favourite things in the game that I have to do. So here we have a slight problem here that the wall, I didn't want it to follow the path. One, because I had to have redone the path because of the weird terrain glitch you get from the path, but also I didn't feel like it looked right coming straight from the bridge. So we have this small gap here where the wall is away from the bridge, and the pieces themselves were too small to sort of cut around with a corner. So I had the idea of actually turning this into a set of stairs down into the water as kind of like a safety steps down into the water. If God forbid a kid fell in or anything like that, staff would be able to use this space here to get down into the water. So this is a bit of a kind of a backstagey bit, but because it's out in the open, it's sort of themed around the rest of the building. But we do have a piece that I'm looking for. It takes me ages to find it. You'll see me going through all the different menus. There we go. We have a life raft thing there, ring. So we place that down, and that creates the little area there. So we've got this little space here. Didn't want to do much really. I place a door that could be a staff door into underneath the stairs there for storage or lighting, electronics, things like that. And then some very light theming that kind of starts letting the fairy tale area sort of overflow. But there you go. Like I say, not really much happening in this build, I'm afraid. I only had a few hours to play this week, and I really wanted to sort of cap this building off before we go back and finish our coaster. But there's a couple of glamour shots there. Thank you so much for watching. I'll try my best to get an episode of this a little bit quicker this week because this one was a little bit shorter. But as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give us a like. It really does help out the channel. And if you're not already, don't forget to subscribe. Any thoughts, queries, or suggestions, pop them down in the comments. And if you fancy a chat, you can find me on Twitter. I'm at John T. Sparrow. Don't forget to join in with the Geekism community over on our Discord server. You'll find the link in the description. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.